75 hard. Day 31. I've got a lot of content creation to tend to today. I've got, at the moment at least for the morning, I've got an available garage for some content practicing. So that's probably the direction I'm going to take. I've got to check about some of these eBay returns and things. Today is going to be hot. It's going to be up to like 83 degrees. Tomorrow is going to be up to 81 degrees. I hate it when it's hot. I don't really like really hot weather. Yesterday was pretty hot too, but I'm looking in the wrong city. I'm looking at Long Beach. Alright, no, it's not going to be that hot today. Today's going to be 74 degrees, and then tomorrow's 76. So in my area, it's like way more cooled down, like almost 10 degrees more cooled down than Long Beach, so that should be fine. Yeah, 80s is too much. 70s can be a bit much, but it should be fine. I'm expecting the neighbors, gardeners, to get here sometime between, they usually can start as early as 11 and end as late as maybe 1:30. So I'm kind of working my schedule around that. I'm trying to take a little bit of content creation a little bit more seriously. Part of me is debating if I should do more recording in the mornings, because when I record in the evenings I'm kind of sleepy, and it's kind of a whole thing. I don't really have a lot of space to record, but if I don't prioritize the working out, then it's really hard to get it done later on in the day. My schedule is like a little weird. It's kind of off right now because I don't really know how to tailor my energy towards what I need to do for each day, because I'm trying to conserve energy partially for tasks I might need to do, and then I'm also trying to use energy wisely. Last night I had a pretty bad stomach ache. I think Jersey Mike's gives me stomach aches, but I also had pot roast after I had Jersey Mike's. I had that light breakfast yesterday for day 30. I had that egg and what was it? The one egg and the protein shake for breakfast pretty much. And then later on around maybe 10:30, I had a pickle with some Sprouts deli lunch meat. It was turkey. I think it was called honey maple. It had like a honey maple glaze. It's probably Boar's Head. I don't remember if it was Boar's Head specifically brand, but I had that sliced, and then I had Jersey Mike's after my drug screening appointment, probably close to 2:30 p.m. and then I ate pot roast for dinner around 5 p.m. So it was a couple sandwiches and then a lot of protein on the front and back ends of my day. And somewhere near like 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. or so, I started having like a really weird stomach feeling. Actually, in my teeth, I felt like a weird, like on the right side of my teeth, they were all feeling like suddenly just like odd pain that just came out of nowhere. And I basically just kind of put some water in my mouth on that side of my cheek and swished it around a little bit. It maybe seemed to help. I don't really know. It kind of soothed after that. I don't know what that was all about. Like every so often, my teeth I get a little weird pain in my teeth. Like it might be, I know for sure when I have sugary, like sodas. Like I had this one like cannabis infused soda once. It was like an orange soda, and my front bottom teeth, like the backs of my gums, were just like killing me. That was maybe a couple years ago, and it's happened every so often. But other than maybe the occasional ginger ale, I don't really tend to drink a lot of sodas. Like I kind of drink soda when it's like if I have like a little stomach issue. But honestly, doing cardio and working on fitness and walking and stuff like that, that really helps with the intestinal stuff too. I think today I'm gonna try and work on my gut a little bit. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm gonna try to take a little probiotic. I think I can afford to do it today. I'm gonna write this down. Let me see. So I'm gonna write down 75 hard, day 31. So the plan is gonna be probiotic. I already took had a mosh bar, had a little bit of C4 already, but I want to have a probiotic. I don't want to overdo it with probiotic and ginger, but I did have to take a Pepto last night. And eventually my stomach felt fine. I feel like I slept good, but I took a lot of melatonin. I had like 3/4. Like at first I had half of one, like 2.5 milligrams. At I think it was 8 p.m. and then I still wasn't feeling that sleepy. So I think around 9:45 ish, I had another I guess it would have been 1.25 milligrams. But it felt nice. I don't know, part of me just wants to work on my gut situation here. One thing I'm finding, I guess this is something I'm finding difficult. Okay, let me keep talking about a little bit about the plan for today for some of the stuff. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do workout wise, but probably I'm trying when I have C4. I'm gonna try to use it for muscle development because it does help with that. And just try to lean into the energy. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is like the mosh bars do help with the energy first thing in the morning. Even though they don't have caffeine, I do notice a difference. So even though I was feeling super groggy this morning, probably woke up near 6 a.m. Once I had the mosh bar, I lingered for a while in the morning, so I had a mosh bar around 6:30 a.m. or something like that, maybe 6:15, and then it started. I was just watching a video about like abandoned villages in Japan, just kind of easing into the morning. I kind of like stuff about Japanese culture because it doesn't tend to be like super intensive content, even if it's not made by Japanese people. I like those seek discomfort people. I like just kind of travel vlogs that are kind of like unique experiences and stuff like that. I'm really still trying to stick to the internet planning of just like tailoring my energy. I'm trying to kind of lean into more routine types of spiritual practices, or at the very least like some kind of reflections on my days, and kind of just seeing like, not as like a point of like be negative on myself and being like, oh, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, but just really getting a feel for how my day went and being like, okay, I could have fine-tuned this or that, but not really being harsh on myself about it, just like recognizing it and seeing if it's something that I'm interested in trying to actively work on or not. Because sometimes, those are two different things. I know those are two different things. There's a lot I've got going on right now, though. It's hard for me to like develop a routine when I've got almost 2 weeks of where I don't really know what I need to do or want to do. I did have some THC usage yesterday. I think right after my appointment. I didn't think it through too good, but I was ordering Jersey Mike's and I was gonna walk over there, but I was like, let me order it first. Let me just sit down in the lobby after my appointment, order, and then walk over there because it was gonna take me a couple minutes to walk anyway. So I was like, let me just order first and take a break and sit there. And I had probably 2.5 milligrams of an edible. That was probably near 1:30 p.m. or so. So I just did that real quick yesterday afternoon. Now before I did that, a lot of the day I was trying to think about, do I want to have any cannabis in my system? Because I'd already gone like 3 days without it. There is something weird with it where it is kind of part of my, I don't want to call it part of my personality. That's kind of like insane to say. But part of my routines, part of my I don't know, like it is a big part of things for me. And I was kind of like not having a good time without it. Just the amount of energy I had spent thinking about it for 3 days. Like if I hadn't gone to like Pride events or something, I probably wouldn't have had any easy time with it at all. For me, I feel like I use it medicinally, not so much recreationally, but I do often have it in my system recreationally if I do want kind of like a super psychoactive experience. I'm not usually shy to that, but that's not usually the goal, unless I'm in party mode. Usually the goal is stress reduction, usually social related stress reduction, but I do think yesterday I was a little extra irritable. I was a little extra, just during the weekend in general, just not able to sleep good. And I mean, it wasn't really my own goal to really start reducing something like that for a job that's not fully giving me exactly what I want and desire, but also the opportunity I do want. So I want to be clear about that. I don't want to screw that up. It's still potentially possible that I may have screwed that up. I don't really know. I might not know for another week. So yesterday I did have some, and then I think somewhere in the night I vaped maybe near when my stomach was a little hurting. I thought maybe this would help with the pain a little bit. I had like 2 vape hits, and so I'm like, and I'm still trying to figure that out, like what I want to do with that, because if I have a job role where they're basically saying, we don't want you using this, I mean, I don't know. I do like the lion's mane though. I do like that. I do like the mosh bars. I guess the thing I don't like about them is the probiotic aspect. because it's very fibery and it's got a bunch going on where my stomach is just, I don't know if I can eat those every morning, because I do notice, after maybe 2 or 3 days, my stomach is kind of like, you need to cool it. I don't really want to, I don't know, I mean, I'm pretty heavy on the fiber. I'm trying to calm the carbs. I'm not eating carbs, but I'm trying to do like maybe potatoes or rice, and then otherwise like sandwich breads. The Jersey Mike's wasn't really a part of it. The Jersey Mike's was my treat to myself for doing something that I don't want to do. And I do have this cider alcohol, one can of, I think it's called Bivouac or something like that, of a dry pear cider. And I was like, I'm gonna drink this. And then I was like, you know what? I don't even drink. Like, I don't even know why I bought that. It's not that I don't drink, but like, I don't really drink by myself, but it was kind of one of those things. I was like, well, I don't want to use a bunch of cannabis. I don't know how long it stays in my system, but alcohol wouldn't stay in my system for way too long. So it was kind of one of those thoughts of like, I'll have this, but then I was like, to kind of like de-stress. But then I was like, if I do get hungover like the last time when I had that Modelo and got all messed up from half of a Modelo, if I do have it, then I don't know, like if I do have it, it might have messed up my whole next day because my energy's already like off, but I do notice I think sometime yesterday, sometime before the drug testing on not day 30 of not having cannabis products, but like nearly 72 hours, I didn't feel as bad about it, and there was somewhere during yesterday where I was starting to think more like, maybe I could limit or reduce or just avoid it completely, but the decision to kind of just like have something right after that appointment was kind of weird. Like, even when I was like, because I took it with me in my backpack to the appointment, and then I was like, I'm just gonna have this. And there was another part of my brain that was slightly like, do I really want this? Is this a good idea? Do I really want this? And I was like, well, I'll just keep it small amounts, microdose amounts, maybe 2.5 milligrams today, and then maybe any other days, maybe 1 milligram. But then I'm like, I'm still gonna test for it. It's still gonna be in my system if I keep taking it. And it is putting job-related stuff at risk because I don't know yet if they're gonna accept the paperwork. And so part of me was like, this is a stupid idea. Well, not stupid idea, but it was kind of like, this isn't really a good idea, because I wasn't really feeling like I definitely want to do this right now. This is definitely something that, like, I wasn't physically craving anything or even mentally. It was just more like habitual, more like, okay, like I just want to like take this because I'm used to having this effect in my system. And I don't know what, I think I was more like, I'll deal with it later. But I wasn't really fully buying into really even wanting to have it in my system. I didn't really feel, I wasn't like overwhelmed or overstressed or feeling like I needed to like unwind or relax. Maybe it was kind of more like a reward to myself. I was kind of like, there, you did it. And you said right after you took the test you were going to have a little something, and then the results don't come for like a week. But then I was also thinking like, I'm not even doing this out of like desire or necessity. I was literally just like, let me just do this. and I wasn't even like taking time to like stop. Like I was kind of like quickly going through like these thoughts all those thoughts I just said, and then I was kind of like, because I thought I stopped for like almost a second, and I was like, I could just sit and think about this for a little while longer, and I was like, no, let me just take this, go home, I'll figure it out later. But I was like, this is kind of what I want in my system for the rest of tonight, and then I'll figure it out later. So I'm kind of in the process right now of figuring out what I want to do with that. I might switch over the lion's mane or switch to some other thing that's not going to potentially get me into any trouble. I don't think I see, I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, cannabis has benefits. THC has its benefits. CBD has its benefits. I like the benefits. I've been a big advocate for the benefits. I don't really like the fact that a job can tell me not to have this in my system when it's something I've been doing for like years at this point. I don't really like that. I don't want them telling me what to do. And especially because I'm not, I mean, yeah, I was taking it in the afternoon, but I'm not usually taking it in the afternoon. Like, that's not usually, like, the plan. But I don't think I took it out of necessity yesterday. I just took it to take it. So, I don't really know what that was all about. It was weird. I don't really know how to feel about it. I know yesterday morning I was having a very emotional morning, which is fine. Like, I don't mind having an emotional morning. And then I was very irritated with people later on in the day when I just really needed to be kind of by myself, when I wasn't able to take that drug test earlier, and I felt like people in the house were kind of hounding me, and just like, and even over the weekend, I just was feeling kind of like, I don't really like people keeping tabs on me. I don't really want, people kind of all up in my business. I'm trying to just do my own thing. So I kind of felt like that. And then I was definitely irritable in the morning. Probably because I hadn't eaten a lot of food, honestly. That's probably what it was. And then I was like, now I gotta wait. And I gotta go back. And I gotta spend the money on the Ubers. I spent like $20 or so worth of Ubers. And then another like 13 or so worth of Uber Eats, because I picked up that Jersey Mike's before I got the Uber home from Jersey Mike's. And then, but I was kind of like, I kind of felt like I needed like an unwind day. But then even by the time I was home and I'm just like watching YouTube movies, and I'm like, this is boring. Like, I wasn't really into it. I was kind of like, I've been out the past couple of days having a lot of fun. Like 3 days I'd been out with friends and like having some good times. And I'm like, now I'm back home just like watching YouTube videos, and I can't really go out because I've got like cannabis in my system. So I'm like, this is kind of sticking me at home, even though it wasn't a lot. But usually once I'm kind of like, once it kind of kicks in even a little bit, I don't really like to be out too much. So I was kind of just like, in a way, kind of feeling like this sucks, but I don't know. So I might be reducing or switching to something else. Deep breathing does help. Doing kind of meditative stuff does help. But also I live in LA and I live in the city, and it's very hard to routinely have like a slow pace. I find it really hard to like often be able to have like a slow paced lifestyle. I don't know if I need a slow paced lifestyle. For me it feels more like the social stuff, the living with people, more so than the other grind. But for me, yeah, often living with people is like a pain. Even though I love the people, I don't really want to interact that much. That to me is more, that's probably one of the biggest stressors in my life, is that. And then the choices I tend to make because of it, it's like, if there's certain, if I were coming home every day to a house where I wasn't really dealing with anybody and their needs or their desires or their habits and things, I think I'd be fine. Unless it was the neighbors, like you can't guarantee that you're not gonna have like crazy neighbors either, but if it was just me, I feel like I'd be mostly fine. It's more like when I'm already depleted in energy, do I really want to really keep engaging with people? Because I am quite sociable, but I don't really want to be sociable all the time. So, I don't know. But I guess what I was trying to say before I kind of backtracked to kind of talk more about that experience, I knew I was going to forget what I was trying to say. I don't know. I'm kind of trying some stuff, switching some stuff up. At this point, like I said, I don't even know if I'm doing 75 hard. I'm doing like some weird thing. I don't even know what my schedule is. But I guess I was gonna say, in the mornings when I have caffeine in my system, sometimes I honestly just like, I kind of honestly just like being, doing my own thing, keeping to myself. But I like the energy. I really just like the energy to be, like sometimes I'm like, I'd rather do podcasting. Like I get the energy, I get the mental energy. I don't know if I want to use it all on my workouts, but I have a pretty clear track record showing that working out is one of the things that helps me a lot. And simple things, like it doesn't mean like I need to work out like 18 hours or whatever, like, but just simple, it's part of self-care that can't really be neglected. And there's another part of me that's almost often fighting that. It's almost often just being like, you have the time and the energy and the space to do these workouts often, and there's another part of me that's just like, no, you need rest. There's always this part of me that thinks you need to conserve energy, you need rest, you need to pace yourself because you're gonna run out of steam. You need rest. And I mean, there's a lot of times where that has come back to bite me too, where I kind of push too hard. So that whole thing of like, of pushing too hard versus needing rest, that is hard for me to gauge. Like even during Long Beach Pride on Sunday, day 2 is definitely complicated for me. I'm gonna start stretching now. Day 2 is definitely complicated for me because there was a lot of stuff I wanted to do. I was kind of second guessing myself. I kind of have a lot of topics I want to talk about. Things that have to do with like dating, um, and some other stuff about I don't know, like just some other general things, I guess, that you know I want to talk about. I just don't know exactly how to do so. Like I don't know where I really want to go with it, but yeah, like I really am kind of trying to figure that kind of stuff out, how to pace myself. Because before, what I would usually, I guess I'm pretty worried lately that I'm gonna have an experience that's gonna result in failure, like it has before, when I've pushed myself too hard past my limits and not really been able to come back fast enough while still having to push and having no recovery time, and that kind of did me in. That's kind of what happened with my PhD program. For the most part, when I look back, I'm like, yeah, that happened that way. The last mental health work job that I had, it was kind of that way too. It's possible, I don't know, if some of these menstrual cycle side effects are stress related or depression related or just lifestyle habit related. I guess the way I would describe it is things that I noticed, like not paying attention to digestive systems as much, not knowing about the protein before caffeine in the mornings, not knowing about the effects of coffee. For a long time I used coffee as like the major thing to try to boost my energy, and I don't think that was helpful. Maybe having coffee so often first thing in the morning wasn't that helpful for my system. Maybe it stressed my system too much. I don't know. I do notice though, like I mentioned this last time, when I had green tea and more ginger tea this last cycle, when I kind of reduced the C4 and increased the green tea and started using a little bit more like ginger tea during my cycle, this last cycle was a lot more tolerable than almost any others in the past few years since I've been having these issues. I'd say there were maybe 2 other periods I had that were better. I guess you would say better. Maybe 2 others. And one that got way worse when I was just neglectful and eating a bunch of like takeout and stuff. It was probably fast food, takeout fast food. Because that was September of 2025, and I remember August of 2025 was like a really light month. I don't know why, but August definitely was a really light month, and then September was like terrible. But then before that, I think it was November of 2024 that I had first tried that Ancient Healing Teas brand, and that November was the first time since I had started that Depo-Provera injection and then stopped taking it, once I noticed that, hey, this is really messing me up a lot, having like 20-day periods and super heavy days for like a week, for like almost 10 days, it was almost just like nonstop all the time, just going. Just, I couldn't even hardly leave the house. Like, I was like, well, I gotta be in the bathroom at least every hour to 2 hours. Like, I can't go anywhere. You know, like I can't go anywhere in LA and sit in traffic and be like trying to pull over for the bathroom every like, like it was going pretty heavy for a really long time like that, to the point where I couldn't even Uber. I was like, I can't even do Uber Eats because I might be somewhere between bathrooms where, I might be at risk of kind of like having some kind of overflow situation going on, and I just wasn't feeling good, like hardly ever. But yeah, I kind of recognized that, and it was definitely hard. I found it to be a challenge. I found it to be very difficult, and I was just really stressed, and it felt terrible. Like, I've always hated getting periods, and then it's like, great, now I'm getting them like all the time, and they were like not ending and worse than ever. But once I started taking that Ancient Healing Teas brand, they went from like 20 days of just like horror to like 7 to 10 days with maybe 3 to 4 days being terrible, which was still bad, but I was like, at least it cut that in half. Because before even taking the Depo-Provera, I'd say I'd have like, usually my cycles would last like a week, and then it would be maybe 1 to 2. Usually the first day would be like terrible cramps, and then there'd be another day, maybe the first and second day were bad, or it would be first and, or as in heavy, or the first and second day would be heavy, and then maybe like the fourth day or fifth day would be like that. It would be like maybe, but everything would be pretty much gradually decreasing till there'd be one day where things just kind of spiked towards the end, and then it would just kind of go away fully within a week. But usually the first day was like cramps, and they were like, it sucked, but I was like usually able to kind of deal with it. And then there was a certain point during grad school, I think, where I realized I wasn't having any cramps hardly. Like, there were a lot of months where I didn't have any cramps, and I was kind of like, oh, things are kind of like improving. And the main thing I can think of is I was walking around campus all the time. That's the main thing I can remember, is I walked a lot. I was doing a lot more walking than usual. In grad school, I parked off campus a lot and was doing a lot more walking to and from the car regularly in those areas near Cal State LA, off the back of like King Hall, near the dorms where there's all those hills and everything. I was walking around a lot. So the walking, the routine kind of exercising, I think was probably one of the more helpful things. I can't say I ever had a lifestyle that wasn't that stressful. Not to my recollection. Because even the times where I've had like gap years and things like that, they were a struggle financially, they were stressful, and I wasn't doing well for some other kinds of reasons. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily like easy or good some of those times, but yeah, I was pretty I don't know, like I was, you know, like I know that the exercising helps, with a lot of things in life. It helps with sleep, it helps with the gut motility issues, it helps with the cycles, you know, it helps with all the things that I am regularly having issues with. I mean, the exercise is almost like the medicine. You know, that's almost the thing that consistently helps more than any other thing. And I know that. I know that it does. I have proof that it does. It's like a one-to-one. You know, when I look at different periods of my life, different time periods of my life, I'm like, yeah, if this, then that, you know? Like, it was all the time that way. And it wasn't like, it's like I gotta work out for like 3 weeks straight to see any results. It was like, no, like within a couple days, within the day of, within a week, you know, there's results. Like, even if it's not weight loss or whatever kind of muscle gain or anything like that, even if I'm doing like the minimum amount of efforts, I'm getting results. So, and the easiest thing that seems to be the hardest thing, but the easiest thing is the walking. The walking gets me results. So, I don't know why it is that I would prefer to like avoid it. It's kind of weird to me. But I don't know, we all make our own decisions in life, and that's a decision that I feel like I'm regularly making. A decision to avoid that. A decision to avoid the exercise, or putting in more efforts into the exercising, when at the moment I do have the time and energy. I mean, I'm worried when my schedule changes and I start working 2:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. I'm not going to want to work out before work. You know, I mean, the job isn't going to be like a desk job, so I'm going to be up and moving around a lot. So maybe that'll help to have a job where I'm like up a lot, possibly. But yeah, I mean, part of me is like, what, you know, no one's gonna do it for me. Like, it's not like, what are those things, like, how, I guess, how Bruce Lee or something had that thing around his, like, torso that was supposed to, like, help with abs, and, like, all these machines that people have created where you can just sit there and get fit. You know, like, what am I gonna, like, make, like, an automatic treadmill where it's, like, I'm sleeping, but it's, like, moving my legs and burning calories? Like, that's insane, you know? It's, like, I gotta do it myself, pretty much. But, I guess I'm not that good at always doing what I need to do for myself. Like, I think on some levels I am. I think on some levels I'm able to kind of socially do stuff. I don't know, my heater's been on. I gotta turn my heater off. I feel like I'm able to kind of socially do stuff. I'm able to kind of like socially make plans. Have some plans to like hang out with people and do some things. Like, I'm able to kind of do that fairly well. I'm able to kind of wake up early. I can do that pretty well. I'm not saying it's always like a good thing to wake up early. Sometimes I probably should sleep in, but because I don't go to sleep early or sleep well throughout the night. But yeah, the getting up early. So yeah, sometimes I don't really get up. Sometimes I get up. I don't think I usually sleep in too much though, because where I live, I don't really like that there's literally always people home. So it's like, I don't really like that. And I don't think I'm gonna like this job too much because I'm not gonna get enough daylight. I'm gonna be kind of overwhelmed having to wake up when people are already awake. They're probably gonna be waking me up, and then I'm gonna have a limited amount of time before I have to go into work, and then I'm gonna get to work and have half the amount of daylight, maybe even more than half, or less than half than what I'm even used to having access to before it becomes nighttime. And then I'm gonna have to work till 10:30, and then I'm gonna want to stay up a little later. But other people in the house don't even sleep till like 3 a.m. So I'm gonna be up while everybody's awake, and I'm not gonna be able to wake up super early because I'm gonna be working so late and probably staying up so late. So I think I need to make a plan around this to try to get out of this job. Even though I'm trying to start it, I might need to try to get out of it as well, because it does not seem like it's going to help me at all. Like, the training pays. I'm trying to get through the training. I'm hoping that the training hours are going to be 8 to 4. And I'll be able to do that, and it's going to go well, and I'm going to be able to keep the routine that I like through June, hopefully, even though I'll be in another city. And then I'm going to have to figure something out, hopefully by July or August. I don't want to stay in those hours. They said that to get new hours, it's going to take a year of working at the site until you can apply for new hours, and that's not even guaranteed. They're not like you'll definitely get the hours you prefer after a year. I don't think I can take a year. I'm already struggling when I have full autonomy of my schedule. I'm already struggling now. When I have less autonomy, I think it's gonna really mess me up. I'm not trying to put that out into the universe. The goal is to get a car and to pay off some student loans and to set back some savings. And how long would it take to do that? If I do some calculating, I guess I haven't really done the math off the top of my head, but if I do that math now, we can't really take into account the taxes. That's gonna be a whole other thing. But I should be able to get a car, something, maybe by the end of June, and then I don't know. Let me see. To set back the amount of money that I want to set back, it would take me about 3.5 months of just saving and not spending any of that money. Maybe closer to 4 months if I pay off all the stuff that I want to pay off, and then set aside the amount of savings that I wanted to set aside in my retirement account. So that sounds like max. I guess the other options are trying to find various other forms of income that I could have while I'm doing this job and building those up, and trying to make it so that I have alternative forms of income which that honestly hasn't been going that well. Even when I have the time to do it, it's really energy draining and disheartening, and I don't really like that it hasn't really worked out good. So I really don't know about that, but yeah. And so I don't know, that's kind of something I'd have to do. I don't know if I'd make a significant dent with alternative income. I mean, I'm not saying never, but I really don't know. It hasn't really worked out for me in that way anytime lately, so I don't really foresee it happening. I didn't get the worst of worst hours. 2:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. 10:30 p.m. isn't as bad as starting at like 10:30 p.m. or 11 p.m. working till like 7 a.m. or whatever the other hours would have been. I would have preferred to start at 6 a.m. even though that still wouldn't be easy either. I would have much preferred mornings. But the training, I think the training might be 8 to 4. So the training might be fine. I might have to figure it out by July. July might be the new situation. So trying to even last 4 months just for the savings might be a push. And as long as it took me to get this job, I don't know how long it would take me to get another job. So, I don't know. It might have to be like a downgraded experience. The pay in this job isn't like wonderful, but it's not bad. I mean, it's really not the worst. It's not as much as I'd want to be making, but it's more than I was making at all my other jobs. So, as far as hourly wages. So I don't know. But I really don't know how good of a fit this is really going to be. I won't know till I start doing it. At the moment, I gotta focus just on the savings. I don't really want to focus on too much else. I mean, if I have a car, there's still kind of Uber Eats options and stuff like that. You know, I don't want to get myself into some weird debt situation where I'm like stuck having to like keep the job if it's not gonna work out that great. So I'm still trying to figure things out. I really just don't know. I'm trying not to be negative about it. Right now, work is work. Right now, money is money. It's really not the worst. It's not the worst scenario. It's like a mid scenario. Like it's something that is manageable, that's doable. I think I just have to have so much more discipline to keep on top of my workouts. Or get creative with it. Maybe I could work out during lunch, take walks during lunch. I don't know what that would look like. But at least I'd probably like get it in. And with it not being a desk job, maybe that would help too if I'm kind of moving around a little more often. I've only heard negative things though from some people. So, but I don't know. Everybody's frustrated right now. A lot of people are taking certain types of jobs and roles that they don't want just because they need the money and they need the work. And that's kind of what people are being forced into right now. I mean, I have a career field that I was in that I don't want to be in. In a way, I do have job security if I want to go back there. But I don't want to go back there. So, I don't really know. It's a lot to think about, but I don't want to undo the gains. And, like, I do think I have developed a lot of insight into stuff. It's just doing it that might be the issue. So I don't know from there. But yeah, trying to kind of have a certain lifestyle. I really don't want to like neglect anything. I'm already having hard enough time as it is, but it's possible maybe having more money in my pocket might help. But then if I can't spend it really, and I'm just kind of using it so I can pay for, get my savings up and pay off student loans, like that's not very motivational. But that's the responsible route. I can't say that I'm just gonna spend all the money on savings. That doesn't sound right. I don't think I've ever really done that before. So track record wise, I don't have a good track record of that. But I do kind of have a good track record of, sometimes the busier I am, that kind of still is more stimulating, and having a little bit more freedom without going overboard with the spending. If I did get like a side income to where I was able to I don't know, cover the cost of going out. Like when am I gonna go out? I don't even have that much time to go out, It's either gonna be late Saturday nights or Sundays. I really don't have that much time to go out. If I can't go out at decent hours Friday nights or Saturday nights, that's most of the time that other people are available. So I don't know. Unless I'm just going out by myself. I'd say my biggest expense, honestly, is Uber Eats. That's probably the biggest expense for me. Because it's not maybe the healthiest option of food, or the best option, but it is an option. So I don't know. But I don't know. So I don't know though, but I'm really trying not to be like negative about it and make it sound like it's not a good opportunity, or make it sound like it's not something I want to do, because that's not the case at all. Like, I'm really glad that it's been a smooth enough process to have been 6 months to a job offer, whereas, before I was just endlessly applying and hardly hearing back. At least, by the time I was even talking to these people for these job opportunities, I honestly wasn't even, I was kind of like, this isn't even gonna work. I was so skeptical. I was like, there's no way this is even gonna work. Because I'd been just let down so many times in so many different ways that I was just like, whatever. Anything that like a hiring manager or a company would email me or say, or calls from recruiters and stuff, I was like, whatever. I don't think my attitude was like that. Maybe it was showing, maybe it wasn't. I tried not to let it show, but I was just so much like, whatever they would say, I would just take it as a grain of salt and just be like, this probably isn't gonna happen. I was so used to getting let down that I was just like, it's all just talk. I'm not even trusting any of these people. I'm just kind of like telling them what they need to hear. They're kind of telling me what I need to hear. And then nothing's really following through. And I kind of just got used to that. And I was just kind of like, whatever, this is just how it is now. I didn't think anything was going to work out at all. I didn't think I was going to get any job offer at all. But like I said, it's not official for me until we've officially started and I get that first paycheck. But we'll see. So I don't really know. And then, I do still have other opportunities I'm working on, but just my energy is just so, I'm not trying to make this so I'm just complaining all the time, but because this morning I was on Instagram and I didn't watch, but it automatically showed up this video of somebody I was subscribed to. I don't know who they were, but they look like they're crying on camera and they're having some kind of meltdown, and I didn't really click on it, but it was kind of something. I saw some of the description that said something about breakdown or whatever, and saw this lady crying or whatever, and I was like, I'm just not gonna follow this, because I don't know why, she starts having a meltdown and then has to record it. It's kind of like, I don't want to start my day off like that, if I'm waking up feeling fine and then tuning into somebody else who isn't feeling fine, and it's like, and I don't want to be that for other people either. I'm trying to talk here about fitness, about health, but I don't want to ignore the challenges. I do think I have a decent amount of insight and understanding into kind of what I deal with, and I know that it's relatable, so that's why I like to talk about it, because I'm like, well, I'm not the only one who's having all these combinations of experiences, being in another career field, being an elder millennial, and being like, oh, I gotta start over from scratch, but I'm willing to take that risk, because I'm able to take that risk. I'm in a position where I can, I can stay with family, I can start over. I mean, I'm not going to have many opportunities where this is going to be the case, but I understand that some people cannot do that at all. But for those of us who can, maybe it's worth it. Maybe not, but maybe it is. And I guess we're about to find out. But, yeah, I'm still, this is new territory in a way. Some of it's overlap territory that I'm familiar with, but some of it's new territory. So really don't even know. But, alright. I think while I do some recording about dating related topics, I'm actually gonna do some weights at the same time. Maybe 20 minutes of that or 15 minutes of that while I boil some eggs up. I don't really know what I'm trying to have for lunch here or breakfast. It's still kind of breakfast, but maybe I'm gonna boil up some eggs and then make a turkey sandwich for later, and I'll eat that later on. I hope I don't get sick of having turkey sandwiches all the time. But I need to do some tidying, some cleaning up. My space isn't as clean as I'd like it to be, so I might get on that this morning too. Just keep it kind of basic. Yeah, because I do have some recording I'd like to get into, so I think I'm just gonna do that, see where it all lands me, and then go from there. That's day 31. Alright, okay, so I did 36 minutes of stretching so far, 21 minutes of tidying up, and 49 minutes of lifting this morning for day 31. Now I'm gonna eat brunch. Got 4 chicken sausages, 4 chunks of watermelon, 3 boiled eggs sliced in half each, and then the remainder of the grapes that haven't been finished yet. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna make some plans for this Thursday, maybe Friday as well. And then yeah, yeah, that's mostly I guess that's mostly all I really have to say about this day today. I said a lot earlier, but I'm kind of hungry. Gonna eat, unwind a little.